we've been talking about a lot of big issues, particularly in the Virginia governor's race that's coming up. Critical race theory being taught in classrooms has been a hot button we've been talking about. So we thought we'd widen the lens a little bit this morning and bring in an old friend, Bob Silvestri. He's the founder of the 1776 Project. He has been front and center on some of these issues, fighting for parents before school boards all around the country. And Bob joins us live. Bob, good morning.
Good morning, Ed. Good morning, Jessica. Good morning, Terrence. How's everybody doing?
Everyone's doing great. I'm going to be talking to you straight up here, Bob, and I wonder, when you hear about what's happening in the Virginia governor's race and how you have a Democratic candidate and the former governor, Terry McAuliffe, saying critical race theory is simply not an issue in Virginia, he says. It's a theory, and it's not even being taught in schools, when there's evidence that in fact shows he's not telling the truth.
Well, Ed, it's I guess you could say it's amusing or funny, but starting from the top down, we have Terry McAuliffe, who's a CRT denier. Then this weekend we had Obama come in. He basically said that it's false outrage by the parents. And then right on down to Loudoun County, where it's a classic case of subterfuge and cover-up when it comes to rapes in the bathroom and basically the curriculum they're teaching.
Yeah, that Loudoun County issue has obviously been front and center as well. It's in the Commonwealth of Virginia, but it's also in and of itself just disgusting what happened. It looks like school officials covered up an assault, all of that we've been hearing play out. What do you think that parents can do to step up, speak out, and push back on what's happening in some of these schools?
Well, I think we finally turned the corner on this issue. If there's a silver lining to the CRT cloud, and that's parents have finally gotten off the bench. They're outraged. They're outraged in particular. I would say the Attorney General Merrick Garland, when he is using war, he's basically looking at starting a war on parents using authorities that he has available to him, and basically has signified parents as the target for an interagency task force. So parents can get together and push back. We're helping them do it. We're at the 1776 Project. We basically are going county to county across the United States, getting people off the bench, supporting them in their mission.
Bob, I'm glad you mentioned the Attorney General of the United States, Merrick Garland. As you remember, we covered it live here at Real America's Voice. He was on the griddle. A lot of Republican lawmakers on Capitol Hill had him under oath last week at that hearing, as you know, and he was sort of ducking, dodging, weaving on the question of where this policy was created that you referred to a moment ago, where the Justice Department might refer some parents who go before school boards to fight on behalf of their children in terms of what's being taught in the schools. They might be treated, as you said, as domestic terrorists. Well, on Friday, as you know, the Washington Free Beacon came out with some documents suggesting that the White House was behind this policy. When you hear that, what does that tell you about what the Biden administration is doing in terms of curriculums all around the country?
Well, I think the Biden administration, if you look at it, the collusion, if we can use that word, between the Attorney General, between the School Boards Association, and by the way, none of that's been Democratic. There's been pushback by the board members and the School Board Association, National School Board Association. They were outraged themselves that they would actually put forward something intimating the president that parents are terrorists. So I think what we've got overall is a mismatch between what the American people want in their school systems and what the Biden administration think they should have, a la CRT, a la 1619 Project, and the like.
Bob, I said we were going to widen the lens, and what I meant by that is we're talking about these battles that are going on not just in the Commonwealth of Virginia, but as you noted, in counties all across this great country. It's playing out here, 2021, ahead of these critical midterms in 2022. But you founded the 1776 Project in 2018, so you're not a Johnny-come-lately to this. What's your passion? What drives you? What led you in 2018, a few years ago, to say enough is enough?
Well, we were all hopeful, I think, in 2016 that we're going to start getting back to some basics in our country. We noticed over the years, as many older Americans do, that the history was just not being taught about the great origin that our founders gave us, basically the hinge of history, where there was only a couple democracies worldwide, and then with the advent of our experiment, the grand experiment of American freedom and our Constitution, now we have a majority of plurality of democracies around the world. Yet our own kids in our country weren't taught about the greatness. So we founded the 1776 Project to reinstitute that education about the wonderful founding of our country in 2018. So we help parents with curriculum that's pro-American, that shows about the founders and their intent. And then in 2020, things changed a little bit further. So in 2020, we looked at CRT and 1619 projects. Some of these other things were come along. And we look at those in the military, we say the 5-meter targets. Those are the pop-ups that come right at you that you have to deal with. Now, look, we can't reinstitute traditional American education until and unless we deal with the 1619 and CRT and things that are being taught in American school systems. We need to get back to basics. And we need to also defend the 10 Amendments, right to due process, right to free speech, right to assembly, all the things that Americans cherish and are part of our culture.
Bob, how can people find more about the 1776 project? How can people take action? Because as I mentioned at the top, you're not just the founder of the 1776 project, you're a parent as well. Parents who are watching this morning, what kind of action do you want them to take?
Yeah, and thanks. Our website is 1776project.org, and we're asking everybody to become a 76er. Well, what's a 76er? Well, just $760 a month will allow us to continue the mission and fight the good fight. And we're going to be supporting parents. If you're within earshot of my voice, reach out to us. Tell us what you need in your county, and we're going to be right there with you, assisting and aiding you as you stand up to the school boards and try to fight this.
Well, Bob Silvestri, we heard you loud and clear this morning right here on Real America's Voice. We'll have you back. We appreciate you coming in.
Thanks, Ed.
Terrence and Jessica, you heard it straight from the source there. We were thinking as we put this segment together, we talk about it day after day, some of these critical issues that parents are dealing with in classrooms, and they want to know how they can fight back, how they can learn more about what their children are being taught. Bob's sort of on the front lines of that, but it's interesting. We got to get more and more of not just the groups and various sides, all sides of the debate, but some of the actual parents, like Bob is, who want to speak out about all these big critical issues.
And Ed, thank you for broadening the marketplace of ideas, because the reality is there are so many families and so many communities having these discussions, but it is truly a national discussion that needs to be had.
Absolutely. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning as well, guys.
All right. Thank you, Ed. Appreciate it.